This is TWiT.
So the storyline now seems to be developing that Apple's not going to offer a free version of streaming at all. You know, Spotify does, and the music industry hates this. Spotify does, everybody does, RDO does. Taylor Swift said, no, you can't. I don't want you to put out my album on the free version. Spotify said, well, too bad. So Taylor Swift said, fine, I'm not putting my stuff on Spotify.
And the quality of their music went up immeasurably.
I don't know if it hurt Spotify. It probably didn't.
It got them a lot of great publicity. Taylor Swift isn't going to be hurting because she's still selling albums.
She
by the
sold a
gazillion
huge number of albums. Yeah.
You know, there's an awful lot of depressed teenage girls out there. So, yeah, I don't think it hurts Spotify at all just for them to say, right, fine, if you don't want us, you don't want us. It
does feel like, though, that she kind of represented the music industry planting a flag saying, we think free services undervalue what we do. We don't get enough money out of it. And apparently what Apple's doing is capitalizing on that, saying to the record industry, don't. And in fact, give us exclusives. We're going to revamp Beats. It's going to be, I think, $7.99, less than the $10 everybody else is charging. And the goal of Apple is to have lots of exclusive launches. So when Madonna's new album comes out, they hope it's first available on Beats, then a month later available everywhere else. And that would, well, let me ask you, Doctor, what do you listen to streaming music? Do you use a streaming music service?
I used to. I don't any longer. I'm with the Taylor Swift Nation on not Spotifying things and not having things for free.
So because you want to support artists, you buy the music. Yes.
And I'm just old school. I like having things, quote unquote, on demand and not having to use the app or the internet. Like I use iTunes Match so I can download something, but I like having it on my phone. And it's one of those things where Apple is behind the game as far as a streaming service, but they're ahead of the game on getting people to pay for product.
Right.
So if they come to you and say, hey, just pay us $7.99 or whatever the amount is, a lot of people are going to do that, and a lot of people are going to want to do exclusives with them because it's Apple and because of the title they have. I think that they're going to take Beats to another level with that.
Do you think the horse has left the barn?
Honestly, I think it's a remarkable turnaround. I mean, you remember how many 10 years ago, how the record industry hated Apple for dictating to them what price they would sell their music at. Whereas they wanted to sell it at one price, Apple was saying, no, you're going to sell it at the price we set it at.
Apple broke the album by selling 99-cent singles.
Indeed. And now it's coming back round, and Apple is saying, you know what, guys, let's play nice. We can both make some money out of this. And admittedly, and I agree with what you're saying, artists don't get paid enough on Spotify. They don't get paid enough on Pandora. It's an endemic problem for the industry. I'm just intensely suspicious of Apple saying, right, we're going to be the gatekeepers on this one.
Well, they did a really good job. The reason when everybody hated it is because someone else was taking control of the money, right? But you fall in line when everybody starts using that service, and you accept that, and you get paid, and you realize that CDs are going away, and now even buying albums are going away, and streaming is coming in. So for Apple to come in and say, hey, you're going to get more of a chunk of the pie than 80% of those people that are paying on a free service, especially when you're giving us exclusives and bringing people in as adopters, at least you're going to get some money from me. So even if you're skeptical, Apple, you're going to say, hey, at least if I go with them, I know I'm going to get money from something if someone's playing my songs or listening to my album. So it's a different dynamic, and you believe and trust in Apple now if you're an artist, especially because a lot of artists are doing independent launches. I mean, they put albums out on iTunes with no marketing, no video launch now. You know, like Beyonce, her last album came out.
I love what
directly
Beyonce
on iTunes
did.
on overnight, Wednesday night.
Yep.
Turn on iTunes, 1 million downloads the next day.
And a video for each
no
song.
promo.
No one knew she was doing it. It was boom.
Yes. And I mean, not everybody's Beyonce, obviously, but I'm saying if they could land places like that, or like how Jay-Z did his album release with Samsung. I know people that wanted to buy the phone just so they get Jay-Z's album because they're Jay-Z freaks and they need to have his music first.
Didn't Prince give away his album with the Guardian or the Telegraph or something?
Yeah, I mean...
that was a bad one. I mean, that one didn't work.
Other bands have tried it. Radiohead put an album out and said, just pay us what you pay us.
How did that work?
That didn't work too badly for them. They did make as much...
But that's Radiohead.
Yeah. You know, it's...
So, and that's what I've said. Bigger names is going to be better, but...
I would never, ever say that the music industry could get a clue. Right? These guys are clueless. They're the definition of clueless. So this clue they're getting from Apple is meaningless. I think the real clue you take away from Taylor Swift's shenanigans from Radiohead is from all of these is the best thing to do is forget the labels, create a fan base, build a community, and go direct to them and eliminate all of this other crap. Because who's supporting Taylor Swift? Why could she do that? Her fans who love her and wanted to buy the album.
If you listen to Spotify, they'll tell you that they made Taylor Swift, and by discovery, we helped build her fan base.
That ain't true.
Yeah,
she built her fan base and did it with very savvy, with great music.
Yeah, I mean, we saw the same thing with the Arctic Monkeys in the UK from my hometown. And they encourage their fans to go out, share the music, get it out online, build up a fan base, and they went mega. And they hate record companies. You know, they even in interviews with music journalists, they insist on buying their own drinks. They're that much purists about it. But they built a great following about it.
But now you have to be a great musician. You have to have something new and exciting.
You've got to have talent.
You've got to have talent. You've got to build an audience. But if you were the Beatles today, I think the last thing you'd want to do is sign a deal with EMI or Capitol. I think the most important thing to do would be get a website.
Yep. If you've actually got the talent to do it, fine. Record companies are very good at pimping out manufactured bands and
manufactured
keeping
artists.
Simon Cowell in Rolls Royces and that sort of thing. And yeah, if you've got the talent, get out and do it yourself because they have nothing to offer.
I think that's the real lesson, and I think Apple and the record companies got the wrong message from Taylor Swift and everybody else. The real lesson isn't, oh no, music has to cost money and there shouldn't be a free service. The real message is we don't need the record industry. They're the guys.
I will tell you, just for reality check outside of your bubble, you still need radio play and you need spin and you need hype.
You're kidding. You need a DJ?
Okay, let me tell you something. There's countless artists that I could just name, and I'm not going to waste my time, that started off doing their own YouTube thing. And I'll just take somebody stupid like Soulja Boy. Before anybody ever heard him, he had millions of followers on YouTube, millions of views on his videos. Mac Miller, same thing. He was 2 years on YouTube, had a huge fan base. But you know what? Until he got on the radio, regular people didn't know who he is. I knew who he was because I'm on YouTube all the time.
I thought Soulja Boy was really a YouTube creation. I don't think radio helped Soulja Boy. I don't think radio helped Tyler, the Creator. I think those guys...
Soulja Boy was on YouTube for 2 years. He gets on the radio. Next thing you know, everybody's doing his stupid dance, and he's known all over the world. There's a different
radio
level
did not sell Soulja Boy's dance.
Okay.
Did it?
It's a stupid thing. I'm telling you, yes, they do. When you see people doing all these dances, it's you hear about it, but then as soon as somebody takes it and puts it on the radio and puts it on MTV, it's viable. It actually goes viral, as stupid as that sounds, but it gets to the masses. So there's a lot of people that can make a career, yes, doing their tours and doing their circus. There's a lot of people who've never blown up. They never will. We'll never hear about them, but they make a living every day. But if you want to go mainstream, you do need those things. I mean, I'm not saying you need a record label to do it, but you better find somebody who's great at getting you on the radio or getting you on television because you need those things. And that's what the record company gets. You
do raise a good point. I mean, I hate to mention Soulja Boy in the same name as this because it's going from sublime to the ridiculous, but Justin Bieber, for example, was very big on YouTube, but it wasn't until he got on radio that he started making stupid amounts of money out of it.
Really? I told you, I can give you a ton of list of people. Tons of people just like that. And that's a perfect example. Justin Bieber, same thing. YouTube sensation, cute, whatever. And as soon as he got with Usher got him hooked up with a label, got him on the radio, and now everybody's baby, baby, baby. So I'm telling you, you live in a bubble of thinking the internet's great and cool and all, but you still need the real world.
Who listens to the radio?
Everybody.
You guys?
Boat, right?
Oh, you're an old man.
You and I are in the same boat.
Like me. I don't know. I'm on the radio. I don't listen. Now, Chris is 17. You listen to the radio, Chris?
It's on everywhere.
Where's it on?
When people play music, they go to the radio. When people play music in public, they're playing from the radio.
Wait, there's such a thing as the radio still?
So, I live in the tech bubble, and all we listen to is Spotify.
No,
how dare you?
No, I watch my kids. They're not techno-literate. They watch YouTube.
People can't afford to download music or pay $99 a month for a subscription base. They can't.
Where do you even buy a radio?
It comes free in your car.
Oh,
yeah.
So in car. Okay. So when you're in your car, I'll grant you, when you're in your car, people listen to the radio. Where else?
That's enough time.
I actually wake up. I'm one of those
Leo's a slave driver. Nobody in there listens to the radio.
You have a clock radio?
I have a clock radio, and I wake up, and it clicks straight on.
I had a clock radio when I was 18.
Hey, just because the technology is old doesn't mean you got to throw it out.
You're just a digital grandpa. You're the cool grandpa that still has an iPhone. You're the guy that everybody wants to hang out with when they go. Normal grandparents aren't like you.
But really, radio, I mean, are there people who like break new music on radio? Really? Who, where?
For it to tidal wave in the mainstream, yes. We've had this conversation like 2 or 3 times, and you live in a digital world.
I like to
everything
pretend
breaks on Spotify,
I didn't have this
but it
conversation.
doesn't.
No, I think Owen is right. I think Owen is right. Leo, you and I live in a world of digital where we don't listen to the radio and don't watch TV. And the closest thing that comes to the radio is when I go on a long road trip and I listen to XM radio, and it's only one channel that I listen to. And it's like the new wave station, because I'm old.
Don't you guys have iPods?
Who?
You. Don't you have an iPod? Why do you listen to radio?
My phone. What do you mean an iPod? I have a phone.
No, I'm just saying. What's on the radio that's not already on your device?
Can I just so you could just be a regular person for like 30 seconds? In the real world, in the real world. No, it's not possible. But in the real world, some people don't give their kids. My daughter's got an iPod, an iPhone, a Mac Air, but not everybody's balling out like me with their kids. So what do? They give them a little headset and they listen to the radio and they get in the car and they put it on radio because there's no cursing and there's no foul language. They can trust the music that's coming in, and they get brainwashed. There's a lot of things where a large market of people can't afford to have an iPod and a Spotify account and all those things that you're saying, like that's where music gets discovered. Music still gets discovered heavily on the radio, and I know a lot of kids that sit there and watch MTV Raps and the rock channel on MTV all day long in the background. That's how the real world still works. And the world you live in San Francisco, where people pay $4,000 for a shoebox and a woman makes the news for living in a garage for $1,000 a month, isn't the real world. It's not the real world. Get outside that box and come over here and hang out. Not with me, because I'm still balling. But go hang out with American folks that can't afford stuff, because you're diluted in your mind about how you think the world works with Discovery. It's not real. I still love you.
Well, somebody's got to tell the radio business, because they're collapsing. Oh, you guys, 3 people listen to radio. They're applauding.
I've got to say I'm with him on that one.
All right, they do too. All right, maybe. All right.